Welcome back to the AlexyKnowsBall podcast. I'm your host, AlexyKnowsBall, and today we've got a lot that we're going to be talking about. We've got Russell Westbrook retiring, we've got the Lakers selling their team, we've got the Kawhi Leonard situation, the Jalen Duren situation. We've got a whole lot, so sit back, relax, grab something to eat, and let's get right into it. Today, I am going to be starting with my theory of the day, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers were sold because of an FBI investigation. And it's not as crazy as it might sound. The Los Angeles Lakers were bought less than a year ago by Mark Walter, who is the current owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this was a big acquisition. This was a $10 billion acquisition by Walter, essentially giving him two of the most powerful franchises in Los Angeles. And this was a huge deal. The Buss family finally selling off part of their ownership. Mark Walter made it clear even just a week ago. He made a promise that he was going to be bringing championships to the city of Los Angeles through the Lakers. And the Dodgers have obviously been wildly successful since Walter bought them in 2012. This is a Dodgers team that obviously might be shutting down baseball right now. They've made the playoffs gosh knows how many times in a row, and Walter was going to bring that to the Lakers, and all of a sudden, it's gone. And now it is owned by Bob Iger and Josh Kushner, brother of Jared Kushner, who was, of course, married to Ivanka Trump. And that is where this all gets interesting. I think that this sale was done to avoid an FBI investigation. For those who don't know, Mark Walter actually had his phone and his laptop, his personal phone, because, you know, he's a rich guy. He can buy as many phones and laptops as he wants. His personal phone and his personal laptop were seized by the FBI in an investigation, and that happened last year. It was reported last month, and this was part of a further investigation into his loan fraud, which supposedly may have involved some of his other business findings. It was a $16 billion potential loan fraud scheme being investigated by the FBI, and now he is no longer owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of his most expensive and valuable assets. It's someone that was combining the staff of the Lakers and the Dodgers together and having them work in tandem, whether it was analytics department, marketing, anything of that sort. He was really making it into a bigger entertainment conglomerate, and it's dead. And now it's just, you know, obviously the Dodgers are still a huge franchise, but now it's something that could have been across sports that is gone. And it was weird the way it was reported, too. There were things from Ramona Shelburne, who broke the story, talking about, hey, this deal only came around in the last 72 hours. I don't buy that. You're telling me that a $12.5 billion acquisition was done in 72 hours? I don't even make a decision to get $50 concert tickets in 72 hours. Never mind a $12.5 billion sports franchise like the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't believe this. And call me conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. But you're telling me that Mark Walter, out of all of the very rich people, he decided to sell to a Kushner? Come on, like, be serious. I understand that Josh Kushner, to be clear, Josh Kushner is different from Jared Kushner. Josh Kushner is a registered Democrat. They have two different companies, two different venture capital firms, and they have some stuff together. But Mark Walter just happened to sell the team with a ownership group of someone that has direct access to the president, someone who has proven that if you are a supporter of him, he will shut down your FBI investigations. I don't buy that this just happened in 72 hours. And for context, Bob Iger, Josh Kushner, the two new owners of the Los Angeles Lakers, are both obviously very rich. Bob Iger, former Disney and ESPN CEO, he is no longer the CEO of those companies, but of course, being a former ESPN CEO going to the Lakers, you know, goes hand in hand. They love each other. And in Josh Kushner's case, this was a Kushner who was trying to invest into the World Cup, into FIFA, which was obviously, it was completely controversial. No one wanted to do it, and the plan got canceled. And now his backup plan is owning the Los Angeles Lakers. And I get that both Iger and Kushner were interested in an expansion team in Las Vegas. And, they'll just go and buy the Lakers instead. It just feels weird. It doesn't feel right that in just a year, the second most valuable franchise in the NBA, just behind the Warriors, which they will go lower when Steph retires, the second most valuable franchise in the NBA was sold twice in under a year. It just feels unfathomable. He flipped it for $2.5 billion, and now he sold it to someone who could probably be like, hey, he gave me this sports franchise. Let's just cancel the FBI investigation. Who needs it anyways? What even is the FBI? I think Clutch Sports is more powerful. Like, there we go. And this could be a theory, this could be a conspiracy, but it's too close together. But regardless, this is not a political podcast. This is a basketball podcast. And this Lakers sale is super interesting for many basketball reasons. For a lot of things, because Mark Walter is someone that has a championship pedigree, and these two new owners do not. In terms of their sports holdings, Bob Iger currently is the majority owner of Angel City FC in the National Women's Soccer League, the NWSL, and they're just an okay team. They are very commercially viable, just okay. And Josh Kushner is a minority owner in the San Francisco Giants, who have sucked for a while. Obviously, they had some good years in the past, but it hasn't been good the last few years. And I don't trust that these two owners, especially considering that Josh Kushner is a big private equity, a big venture capitalist person, I don't buy that they're going to actually manage the team and want to win championships in the way that Walter did, which once again is even more confusing that Walter sold the team. But I think it's just too convenient with the investigation and with all of that, because Walter is someone that, say what you want about the Dodgers and what they've done, obviously that's a whole controversial thing, but he's made them wildly successful. And I would definitely see him doing this with the Lakers. The fact that he is willing to spend, look at their offseason, bringing in Luka, Austin Reeves, Walker Kessler. You've got those three guys making almost $400 million and no tradable first round picks for the next 7 years, but they invested deeply into this roster. And someone like a Josh Kushner, who is in private equity, might not be willing to do the same thing. And the Lakers are a franchise, arguably the greatest franchise of all time, that looks to win all the time and win championships and have pedigree. And I don't know if these new owners are really all about that. I don't. Bob Iger is like 75 years old, and, he's probably just going to let the basketball people run it. Josh Kushner, because it's a private equity person, he might get in the way. That's what private equity does. They buy things, they get in the way, get a profit, and get out. And who knows? What if the Lakers are sold in another 2 years because they can get a $5 billion profit off of their investment? Because if Mark Walter was willing to sell the team for an extra $2.5 billion in a year, why not if it was $5 billion? What if it was $7 billion? What if it was $9 billion? It's a rabbit hole that is scary for basketball, because I want competitiveness. I don't want private equity taking away the competitiveness in replacement for profit. But yeah, it's a strange sale. Mark Walter clearly had his reasons, whether it was for the FBI or anything else. That's to be theorized by, idiots like me. But it's an interesting case, and I'm shocked, just like everyone else, that the team would be sold so quickly. And yeah, that's about all there is for that. But of course, the NBA could not go a day without another huge headline. Russell Westbrook is now retired. And it sucks. Russell Westbrook, growing up, one of my favorite basketball players. This was someone that, no matter what you want to say about him, you call him Westbrook, he's inefficient, he doesn't show up in the playoffs, this and that. This is someone that you never doubted was going to go 100% on the court. You never doubted that. Even if it wasn't going well, even if it was 0 for 10, he was always going to go out there and put in effort. And that's something I'm always going to respect from a basketball player, regardless if they're good. I respect that with most basketball players, the fact that they'll go out there and truly put the effort in, even when they're not playing well. Like, I'm sure Denzel Valentine was playing his heart out when he took that one shot against the Heat. You know, I'm always going to respect putting in the work, even if it doesn't work out all the time. And Russell Westbrook, unfortunately, like a Charles Barkley, is going to be a victim of ring culture when that should not be the conversation. Because when you think of a guy like Charles Barkley was a dominant player, an MVP, an arguable top 20 player of all time. He's a legend, and yet a lot of people just talk about, oh, he didn't win a ring. I'm like, yeah, his prime was during, Michael Jordan, and then for 2 years, Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, that's not his fault. And Charles Barkley's a legend. I'm not going to just sit here and be like, oh, he didn't win a ring, he's not worth anything. And that same thing, I hope it doesn't happen to Russell Westbrook. It might not, because maybe Russ is on that level of like Allen Iverson, where like everyone loves Allen Iverson. But even that, I think Russ has just received so much more slander than Iverson ever did. And I hope it's not about the championships, because honestly, I don't care. The best teammate that he ever had left him right when they had their chance and broke down when they were up 3-1. I'm not trying to hear a conversation about how Russell Westbrook, because he didn't win a ring, is worthless. This is a player who is a top point guard of all time. Wherever you put him is subjective, but he's up there. I mean, he's amazing. Like, he reinvented how we feel about guards in general. I mean, guards did not rebound at his height like him. Guards were not putting up triple doubles like that. Like I just said in a video today, it still blows my mind that in the 21st century, Lance Stevenson led the NBA with 5 triple doubles, and Russell Westbrook could get 5 triple doubles in like 8 games. Like, Russell Westbrook was doing things on a basketball court we had never seen from a guard, and hadn't really seen from a lot of players. Like, it's nuts what he can do on a basketball court, and I'm never going to forget that. The angry dunks, even the times where, his jumpers would fall, and he would have a huge block and just yell and just put it all out there. That's the type of passion that I want from my athletes. That is the type of passion I want from anyone in any aspect of life. I don't care if you just put together the best Burger King Whopper order ever. If you're going to put in the passion, you're going to be like, oh yeah, like I made this Whopper. I want you on my team. I want you on my side. Like, that is how I feel with Russell Westbrook. This is someone that, regardless of what you say about the missed shots, about the inefficiency, about, oh, he's uncoachable, which I don't buy that. This is still a guy I want on my team. And I've never really seen people be like, oh yeah, like former NBA players be like, yeah, I did not want Russ as a teammate. It never happened. And when you look through his career, this is someone who had over 200 triple doubles, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 3-time assist title, 2-time scoring title, and of course, one of the more impressive MVP runs we have seen in recent years. Someone who lost the best player on his team and still made the playoffs, was still incredible, was still peaking. And the thing is, there's just so many good versions of Russell Westbrook. You've got the version of Russell Westbrook, obviously, on the OKC Thunder, dominant, MVP, makes it to the finals early on, averages like 27, 6, and 6. You've got Washington Wizards Russell Westbrook. I skipped over Rockets. We'll get back to that. Washington Wizards Russell Westbrook was super interesting. Bradley Beal was having the time of his life. That was Bradley Beal's best season when he had Russell Westbrook on his team. Russell Westbrook was putting up crazy stat lines, just doing ridiculous stuff. He was having fun. Of course, Houston Rockets Russell Westbrook. I mean, when he first got there, holy crap. Like, this was an incredible basketball player. Him and Harden being on the same team was crazy. Even if it didn't work necessarily all the time, like, that was still, like, Russell Westbrook, to put it straight, was so good that the Houston Rockets were like, yeah, we'll start PJ Tucker at center. That's how good Russell Westbrook was. That he went to a team and they were willing to reformulate the team because he was that good. And James Harden was a guy who benefited a lot from having a Clint Capella, from having a Tyson Chandler, obviously in a smaller role, from having the guys who he could feed on lobs. And Russell Westbrook was so good, they were like, yeah, just go get me Robert Covington. Like that. That's how good Russell Westbrook was as a Houston Rocket. And even, obviously, Lakers and Kings was not as great. Let's just have fun out there. That's when it really just took a wrong turn for Russ. But he was obviously not the only problem in Los Angeles. And no, this is not going to be an unnecessary LeBron hate thing. I mean, his first year he got there, that was the team that had, a washed Melo and a washed Wayne Ellington and a washed everybody. Like, I'm not blaming that on Russ. The roster construction was always questionable. And yes, he had some bad games. Like, don't get me wrong. Russell Westbrook had plenty of bad games to the Lakers. But I'm going to remember Russell Westbrook as a legend. I'm going to remember him for his peak, for his prime, for his dominance. And I'm not going to be thinking about his time on the Kings, his time on the Lakers. I'm going to be thinking about the good times. And that's what I want to do, because at the end of the day, I don't care about rings. I don't care about all that. If you were a great player on the court, I'm going to remember you as a legend. That's it. Even a guy like Tracy McGrady, I'm always going to acknowledge Tracy McGrady was a great player. The man did not make it past the first round as the best player on the team. But even then, like, that's not going to stop me from being like, oh yeah, like Tracy McGrady's a great player. Like, he's not worthless. He's not worthless by any stretch. He just, it was just different in the playoffs. But Russell Westbrook, you're a legend. We're all going to miss you as an NBA community. And unfortunately, this retirement, it wasn't surprising, but it was the right time to go, because you want to leave the game before the game leaves you. And that's about all there is to it. Like, Russell Westbrook is a legend. He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. His 0 will be retired for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He will be remembered as a legend. And for those who want to take away from his legacy, take away, oh, you didn't have a ring, this and that, just don't. Just don't, because Russell Westbrook was amazing, and I'm not going to let anyone change my perception of him. I never will. And even in the years where he was Westbrook, and even in the years when he was losing games, and even the years when he's like, oh, let's just go have fun out there, I'm not going to remember the last few years. Jordan fans don't care about his time on the Wizards. LeBron fans will likely not be thinking much about his time on the Sixers. So why should I have to do that for Russell Westbrook? And with all that being said, that's all I got on the topic. But next, the NBA has started to release more of the schedule. I just want to focus on the important stuff. The opening night games, very interesting. And one weird thing that we had with these opening night games is that it's a triple header. And I don't remember the last time this has ever happened. A triple header that also starts at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Just very interesting stuff. We've got the Celtics and the Pistons playing at 3 p.m., which, according to some reports, was looking to be a game that would compete in Europe. Because, of course, it would be around 8 or 9 p.m. for Europeans, whereas it's, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, which, yeah, I mean, the West Coast, like, you're going to be, like, you're not even going to be at your lunch break by the time the game starts, which is pretty crazy. But this is a move that on the surface makes sense. I know people are mad, oh, the season's starting at 3 p.m., I'm at work, this and that. I fully get that. The only thing is, while this makes a lot of sense as a, let's get the Europeans to watch more basketball, I get that. The only issue, there are multiple Champions League matches scheduled that day. And I'm going to tell you right now, the vast majority of the people who would watch an NBA game will be watching the Champions League. They will be. Even if it's someone who might be a big basketball fan, the Champions League is so much more important than the NBA out in Europe. The NBA isn't not important, but it's not going to compare to the Champions League. So that was a misstep. I don't know why that was the thought of Adam Silver, but on the other hand, I get it. And maybe, maybe the Champions League matches are just not good that day and people will tune into the NBA, because Celtics Pistons is a genuinely interesting matchup, and it's different from a lot of the games that would usually be teetered towards European audiences, because a lot of times they want to focus on European stars and this and that. And I think it's cool for once to be like, you know what? Hey, Europe, here are our American stars. And you've got a guy in Jason Tatum who is now the bona fide number one guy for the Celtics, who they're probably going to push even more as a superstar. And on the other side, you've got Cade Cunningham, who will be coming into the season, I'm assuming, with Jalen Duren. We'll get to that. But you've got someone in Cade Cunningham who is amazing, who is carrying the Pistons, and in just 2 years got that team from in the doldrums, in the dumpster, all the way up to being the number one seed in the East. And that's the cool thing too. Regardless of the change in the East, these were the top two teams last season. I want to see this. I think it's going to be a good game. It's just weird that it's at 3 p.m., but someone like me who is building a basketball brand full-time, technically I'll be able to watch this, and it'll be during work, but like, it is my work, so I don't mind it. Obviously, for those who have 95s, this sucks. Like, hopefully you'll be able to watch it like behind your boss's back. Because a 3 p.m. game, like, I get it. But it's an interesting idea. Could the execution have been better? Sure, but I get it from the NBA's perspective, because building internationally is what all the sports leagues are doing now. The NFL is trying to do one international game per team per year. They've got the London games. They've got stuff going on in Ireland and Sao Paulo, Brazil, all over the place. Or Rio de Janeiro, wherever it was in Brazil. Like, they've got stuff going on. The NBA wants to compete with that and tap into an international audience that they can genuinely win. So I like it. It's interesting. Is it executed the best? No, but I don't mind it. And then, of course, at 7 p.m., the big one, the biggest game of them all, Knicks Sixers. I like it. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, this is going to be the most expensive home opener ever, easily. Like, I already saw, that people are expecting these tickets to start at $2,000, in the rafters next to the new Knicks championship banner, and Patrick Ewing and Clyde Frazier's jersey. Like, you're going to be up there in the bleachers. But this is going to be a fabulous game, and the amount of storylines on this game is almost unfathomable. There's so much to this game. You've got the Knicks raising their trophy for the first time in 50-something years. You've got a Knicks team that's bringing back pretty much all of their top guys, outside of Mitchell Robinson, but, they still look, as dangerous as ever. You've got a Philly team who lost to the Knicks in embarrassing fashion in the playoffs. They add Jaylen Brown. They add LeBron. They add Anthony Simons, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, LeBaron Philon, all these guys. And you're looking at a matchup that could be the preview to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. They could be. I wouldn't guarantee it, but like, these should be two of the best teams in the East, barring collapse. It's going to be super interesting. Game one of LeBron in the Sixers jersey is just going to throw everyone off. Game one of Jaylen Brown in the Sixers jersey is going to throw everyone off. And there's a lot of questions. Obviously, you've got the whole LeBron back at point guard. You've got, who is going to be the focus, the number one option. Will the Knicks be able to better defend Joel Embiid with Mitchell Robinson out? Because I'll tell you right now, Andre Drummond is food for Joel Embiid. Cat has proven that he can keep up, but it's going to be a great game. There's going to be so much ridiculous hype here that even if it is like an overtime thriller, it might not ever live up to the hype just because of how much is going into this game. Like, it's going to be nuts. They might have to shut down New York City again like they did when Trump showed up to the finals, because there's so much going on in this game. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the ridiculousness, for the hype, for the excitement. That's what we want in basketball. We want all of this to go down, and it's going to be a heck of a game, if I had to say so. It might end up being a 25-point Knicks blowout, but, I got hopes for this game, and I think it's going to be fabulous. And then, to close off opening night, we have the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Chet Holmgren Classic, the Victor Wembanyama revenge game, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander revenge game. This is going to be a great game. Rematch of a incredibly close Western Conference Finals matchup. You've got, obviously, all the storylines in the world. Shai versus Wemby, likely the top two in the MVP race this year. Then you've got, can Chet Holmgren actually keep up with Wemby for one game? Can Shai carry the team? Will Jalen Williams show up like he needs to because he was hurt in the playoffs? Who knows? Maybe the Thunder, they go out there with a healthy Jalen Williams, and all of a sudden, they smoke him opening night, and maybe they would have smoked him if they had him in the playoffs. And of course, for the Spurs, relatively unchanged team. You bring in Tobias Harris, who's going to be a very good piece, in my opinion. I think pretty much solidifies one of their starting forward spots. But you've got the whole storyline of, is De'Aaron Fox still going to be that point guard? It looks like he's still going to be the starting point guard. But, Dylan Harper was incredible. It's getting harder and harder to be like, yeah, Dylan Harper, you be the sixth man. Because I see people saying there's nothing wrong with Manu Ginobili. And that's true. There is nothing wrong with Manu Ginobili. But who is the Tony Parker? Is it De'Aaron Fox? Is it Stephon Castle, who, as good of a player he is, rookie of the year, committed 1 million turnovers in the playoffs? Who is your Tony Parker? Dylan Harper is your Tony Parker. You can't just be like, we had one successful six-man. That was because Tony Parker was a Hall of Famer. It's because he was an all-time player. The Spurs don't have that right now compared to a Dylan Harper. They don't. You can't just be like, he's going to be Ginobili, because who's your Parker? If Tony Parker wasn't there, Manu Ginobili is probably a 20-year starter because he was that good. It was just in a position where they needed someone to man the bench, and he was always perfect. He was amazing. Manu Ginobili's a legend. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a great matchup. I think the Spurs will pull it out again, but just so much good. Obviously, another storyline, the Thunder giving away a few of their pieces in the offseason, trading away Lou Dort, trading away Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, and it only gets better with Christmas Day. We've got 5 games, and I ranked them on my TikTok. I'm going to go ahead and rank them here. Coming in at number 5, Nuggets Warriors. What are we doing? I get it. Steph Curry on Christmas, I agree. Jokic on Christmas, I agree. The issue is the teams. The teams around them. This is probably going to be a Nuggets blowout, if I had to guess. I don't know. The Warriors they're such an incomplete product. Jimmy Butler may or may not be back by Christmas. Moses Moody may or may not be back by Christmas. The Nuggets have done nothing this offseason. We don't know what's going on with Peyton Watson. I just don't like this. It just feels like, we usually put the Nuggets and the Warriors in the later spots. Let's just put them there. Yes, I want to see Steph Curry play. Do I want to see him lose by 30? No, I really don't. And the thing is, I honestly, if you're going to put the Warriors in there, I don't understand why you don't do a rematch of Nuggets Timberwolves from last season. That was an incredible game. I was on a cruise, and it was later at night. Wherever we were, it was 2:30 a.m. And my dad went to go search for me because I stayed up so late to watch the end of this game because it was that good. It was such a good game. And I'm confused why you would see such a great Nuggets Timberwolves game last season and be like, just play a different team. I get the Timberwolves are changed now with LaMelo Ball, But, like, that was a fabulous game. That was one of the best Christmas Day games in years. I mean, it was amazing. Like, great Knicks Cavs last year was great, too. I don't want to see that. But, in this Nuggets Timberwolves case, I would have loved it. Granted, would Nuggets Timberwolves be close? Probably not. But it was a great game. It was a fabulous game. But, yeah, that's my number 5 pick. Coming in at number 4, even as a Heat fan, Heat Celtics, I'm okay. And Heat Celtics has been a rivalry over the past few years. It'll be interesting. You got Giannis, you got Tatum, you got Bam, you got Paul George, Neemias Queta, all the big guys. It should be a good game. Like, it just doesn't blow me away. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, like, I'll be happy to see the Heat on Christmas. Obviously, happier if they win. I hope Celtics fans have a bad Christmas. That's the moral of the story, except for the ones I like. But overall, it's a cool game. It should be fun. I just don't think it's better than the top 3 matchups. But going into my number 3, you've got Sixers versus Lakers. This would be a great game. LeBron, likely the first matchup between LeBron and his former team in the Lakers. Obviously, who knows if he's going to freaking play. But at least he gets to be back home, He gets to be back home in Los Angeles for Christmas. It was nice. The NBA, NBA had to wait for LeBron to sign to, do the schedule. It was nice for them to be like, hey, Bron, you get to stay home. Go be in Los Angeles. So who knows who the heck's going to play in this game, but I think it should still be a good game. There's enough stars that'll make it interesting, unless if somehow, all of Luka, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, LeBron all get hurt, But it should be a good game. I like it. It's a good matchup, 5 p.m., solid, solid matchup. Coming in at number 2, I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And as I mentioned, I wish the Timberwolves were playing the Nuggets, but this is the next best option. This is going to be a fabulous game. This is going to be, you've got the Timberwolves adding in LaMelo Ball, losing Naz Reid. You've got the Thunder with their whole storyline. Like, it's going to be a fabulous game. This should be 2 of the top 3 teams, realistically, in the West. This could be a playoff matchup. It's a great game. Like, I love it. Just overall, Anthony Edwards versus Shea. Sneaky rivalry, 2 guys. Obviously, Shea's more of a point guard, kind of shooting guard. Like, I like it. I hope this creates a rivalry because these are 2 teams that are just really good. There's nothing around it. It should just be good quality, solid basketball, and I think it'll be a fun game. So I got that at number 2. By far number 1, though, Knicks, Spurs, finals rematch. 12 p.m., start the thing off with a bang. The Knicks obviously get a bunch of Christmas Day games because they are the Knicks. This year, they fully deserve it. This is going to be a great game. You've got Wemby with, all the revenge in his heart in the world. The Spurs blowing a 29-point lead the last time they were in Madison Square Garden. Just a lot there. And it's going to be a fabulous game. I've got, high hopes. I think this will be the right way to start off Christmas Day with a 12 p.m. game, because at other times, some people may be watching football, and I'll understand. I'm assuming I'll be watching football by the time the Nuggets-Warriors game comes on, and the Nuggets start off with a 20-point lead in the first quarter. But at 12 p.m., I will be watching basketball, because this is going to be a fabulous game. Knicks, Spurs, there's not much to say. Just going to be good, and, if De'Aaron Fox plays for the Knicks will win. If De'Aaron Fox plays for the Spurs will probably win, but it's going to be a fabulous game regardless. And with all that being said, that's all I got. There's more games coming out, more, Martin Luther King Day games, some NBA Cup games, whole lot of stuff being announced. But regardless, I like what we're doing here with the schedule. It's not perfect. It'll never be perfect. But for opening night and Christmas Day, I like it. B+, A-. It's cool. And with all that being said, moving on from the scheduling, we're going into Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, who seems to be coming back as of, I'm recording this on August 12th. He's not signed with a team yet, but he appears to be making NBA comeback. Hey, we got the Ben Simmons jump shot looking smooth Twitter posts by NBA Central. So he appears to be back. He's playing with the Australian national team for the first time in many years. He's got stuff going for him, after taking a year off, becoming a professional fisherman. He's looking to be back in the league, and I respect it. I like it. I think he can still be a contributor. However, big however here, how much of a contributor can Ben Simmons really be? And it comes down to the fact that I think that he can contribute in the regular season. I still question the playoffs. I have to. I have no choice. Just, the Hawks thing. Like, you can't get over that. The fact that you could argue maybe he made a decent pass to Matisse Thybulle, but, like, dude, Trae Young's on you. Gotta do something. I just still don't trust Ben Simmons in a playoff setting. And I think most people don't. I don't think that's a controversial take. But I think in the regular season, he's an interesting guy to look at. He gives you different looks, small ball 5, backup point guard, backup power forward. If you just put him out there and say, hey, play some defense and play make, he could still be a valuable player. His stint with the Clippers wasn't perfect, but he contributed. He was still, he was out there. One team that I really like for Ben Simmons, not that I love a lot of teams, but I get it, is the Los Angeles Lakers. And the reason I say this is, first off, they have JJ Redick as their coach, Ben Simmons' former teammate, someone that was willing to give Ben Simmons an interview and let him speak his mind in 2022 on the Old Man and the Three podcasts. I think it's someone that Ben likes, that would actually put trust into Ben Simmons, because the issue with the Sixers was that Ben Simmons didn't feel like he was trusted and didn't feel like he got the respect he deserved. And, Daryl Morey didn't respect him. Doc Rivers was like, Ben Simmons is not our point guard. I'm not going to imitate Doc Rivers' voice. I'm okay. I love my voice. And Ben Simmons is going to come to a Lakers team that would have a coach who's going to support him, maybe an ownership group that wants to sell tickets. I don't know. So I like the Lakers. And the reason I say this is because the Lakers already roster a guy that isn't exactly like Ben Simmons, but in a nutshell is somewhat similar. And that's Jared Vanderbilt, because Jared Vanderbilt is a great defensive player, defensive menace, but he provides nothing on the offensive end. Ben Simmons is in that similar boat where you're going to get good defense from Ben Simmons. You're also going to get good playmaking, which is an advantage over Jared Vanderbilt. But the offensive game isn't really all there. And I'd honestly rather trade Jared Vanderbilt and bring in Ben Simmons than keep Vanderbilt. Just because you know what Vando is. He's a good teammate, good defender. Ben Simmons is still something where it's like, if he really gets clicking, he is a better player than Jared Vanderbilt. And he brings a look to a team that it's going to be interesting. So you got a bunch of smaller guards. You got, Sexton. Grimes is kind of like a wing. But then you bring in a guy like Ben Simmons, who's a completely different look for the team. Maybe you've got some times where you're like, you know what? Like, I don't want Luka to have the ball for the next 2 minutes. He needs a break. Ben Simmons can come in and run the offense. And I don't hate it. Once again, like, I don't think that he could contribute in a playoff setting. But the Lakers have a deep enough team where he won't need to. I just see him as like a minutes eater in the regular season. He can do some things, play make, defend, be out there, have someone where it's like, hey, in theory, in case of emergency, we got to break out a guy who was once an all-star. Like, sure. And the Lakers are a team that are always willing to bring in names, to bring in guys that, aren't fully unproven. Even like guys who aren't necessarily household names. Like they had Stanley Johnson, who was a high first round pick, playing and starting for them at some points. Like, obviously that was out of desperation, but I don't see why they wouldn't be willing to do the same for Ben Simmons. Especially because Ben Simmons is number 1 overall pick. And, he hasn't been great. He took a year out the league, but he wasn't awful when he was a Clipper. He probably already has a place in Los Angeles. Like, might as well. That's where I see it. Because, like, the Sixers, they'd have to trade one of their guys, which so would the Lakers. The Lakers, just Jared Vanderbilt's just a natural trade candidate. The Sixers, I would love the story. I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, other teams, I've seen the Timberwolves mentioned. The Raptors have a bunch of wings. So, and they love their wings. So maybe Ben Simmons fits into that. But me personally, I think this is a Lakers situation. I understand it's the bright lights that, Ben Simmons might want to avoid, but he is a coach who's going to respect him and trust him and give him, the motivation to be out there. So, yeah, that's how I feel about Ben Simmons. It's an interesting situation, but I hope he gets signed and I hope he succeeds because it's been a long road. But I think he deserves to succeed. But on that, another free agent, Jalen Duren. What is going on with him? The man is still unsigned. It still looks like a situation where, the Pistons are probably going to bring him back. They seem pretty likely to bring him back. But how? For how much? Where could he even go if it's a sign and trade situation? It's just weird. It's really weird. And like I read an article in The Athletic, it's like a week or two ago, about how a lot of executives were like, yeah, like, at some point I would offer Jalen Duren 4 years, 120. And then other people were like, oh, I'm offering him 220. And Duren and his agent are like, I'm eligible for the Supermax. Give me $267 million or however much it is. It's just the value is all over the place. But I think at some point, the Pistons are going to realize that, wow, like, we need him. Because look at the help that Cade Cunningham has around him right now. I mean, the second best scorer there is probably John Collins. Like, it's not great. And you lost Isaiah Stewart as well. You traded him. Like, you've got to bring back Duren to solidify that center position. Even if it's a little bit of an overpay, I would argue that even if they overpay him, like, they could still trade him if that's something that comes, and he'll be plenty valuable. Like, I get he sucked in the playoffs. And, like, if he had a good playoff run, this wouldn't be a conversation right now. The man would have, whether he was worth it or not, he'd have a Supermax contract if he did what he did in the regular season in the playoffs. And we would not be having these conversations. The Pistons likely make the conference finals if Jalen Duren shows up the way that we expected him to. But at the end of the day, the Pistons need to re-sign him. They have to. They're in a situation where if it's a sign and trade, I mean, what are they really getting? I know one place that's been mentioned is Sacramento with Domantas Sabonis, which, no, I would much rather have Jalen Duren than Domantas Sabonis. I don't think that's a crazy take. I don't think that's wild. Another team that I personally thought of, obviously the Kawhi trade is still in limbo. I don't hate him on, actually, now that I say this, either the Clippers or the Raptors. He makes more sense to the Raptors because they just need a center. And if, in the scenario that Kawhi Leonard's contract gets voided and the Raptors can sign him on a minimum or a lower tier contract, and then, the Pistons are like, all right, trade us Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and a first round pick. I like it. I think it'd be interesting for both sides. The Raptors have a center hold down that position that Jakob Poeltl frankly doesn't deserve after his playoff performance, and they could probably get off of his contract by trading him to the Pistons. So that's an interesting thought as well. Now that I say the Clippers, I'm like, hey, they're going to be in the doldrums for the next few years. You might as well, if they can somehow generate that cap space, or they give up, maybe the Pistons really like Darius Garland or something, and, they give the Clippers hope for a few years, because I think Duren could be not necessarily a franchise guy, but he'd be really good. I mean, all-star, all-NBA player last year. I think he could really help out some teams, but really, it should be the Pistons. The Pistons should have this in the bag, because at the end of the day, like, they got to pay him, or else this season, I mean, the season goes down the drain. Like, yes, Cade Cunningham is still going to carry them to a bunch of regular season wins. This team isn't winning anything serious in the playoffs if they just let go of Jalen Duren. So that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion, with this situation. But moving on from this situation, we of course have the Kawhi situation, which I referenced a little bit earlier. It's just been crazy. It's just, there's been so much, from Pablo Torre, from the NBA taking 9 days to announce that they're suspending the trade, to the Raptors being like, oh, we'll take on all the punishments for him. And then, more stuff gets announced. Kawhi's invested in a Rhode Island soccer team. He's invested in a Jumbotron company. He's invested in all of this stuff. And really what it comes down to with Kawhi is he was still a great player. Like, this last season was one of his best in a few years. He was pretty healthy. I think only 1 game off of being eligible for NBA awards, averaging like 27, 28 points a game. Like, this is a great player. And the Raptors would be championship contenders with Kawhi. I don't think that's a question. Are they an upper tier contender? No. But realistically, they're probably top 5, say at worst top 7 teams in the league. This would be a Raptors team that would win a whole bunch of games. I mean, this was a team that I want to say won almost 50 games last season. And you're adding in Kawhi, and who better to mentor Kawhi Leonard, or to mentor Scotty Barnes than Kawhi Leonard? That's a great addition. That's a fabulous addition. I love that. This is weird on both sides. Obviously, the Raptors have basically had to cancel their offseason just waiting. And it feels like Kawhi is going to come to the Raptors. It feels like it. I think it should happen. I mean, look, I'm sure the Clippers would love to have Kawhi back. I mean, look at their team right now. I mean, Brandon Ingram, Darius Garland, Rui Hachimura, Keaton Wagler, like, in theory, talent. I don't love it. I mean, I think it's one of the worst rosters in the West. I don't know about this team. Like, it's interesting. But I do think that somehow, some way, Kawhi Leonard will end up a Toronto Raptor. I don't know if it's going to be that the trade gets approved and the Clippers get punished, or the contract gets voided and the Clippers get punished, or Kawhi sees a suspension. There's a lot of ways this could go. But most importantly, the Raptors know what they're doing. I mean, they quite literally said, look, we will take on any punishment from this investigation. And I mean, I don't think Kawhi would be suspended for a whole season, maybe like 25 games, which the Raptors could stay afloat for 25 games. Absolutely. They would be still a playoff team without Kawhi, in my opinion. I mean, they were a playoff team without Kawhi last year, and yeah, Brandon Ingram was really good. Once they got to the playoffs, I mean, he disappeared from the face of the earth. So it's interesting. This is a Raptors team that should be very good. Would be championship contenders with Kawhi. Just a weird situation. I'm going to assume the Clippers are going to get the belt. They're going to go get ridiculously punished. But that's just me. I don't know. I'm not Adam Silver. Thank goodness. I still have hair. So that's really all I got with the Clippers situation. And lastly, I want to introduce Freestyle Time. This is going to be a segment of the show where I choose a random topic and I just go off for 2 minutes straight. Whatever it is, uninterrupted, I just go. And today, I've got a topic that is still, debated, I would say. I mean, there's definitely plenty of people who think this person is a product of nepotism, is a product of his father. If you don't know who it is yet, it's Bronny James. It is Bronny James. But I got something to say about Bronny James. I have something here. Bronny James is, without a doubt, an NBA player. Without a doubt. I understand. I know who his dad is. I'm a fan of his dad. His dad's a great basketball player. Arguably the greatest of all time. But Bronny James, before he had cardiac arrest during a basketball practice, was a top 10 projected NBA pick. This was someone that people were like, wow, like he's going to be a killer player in the NBA. And yes, his college season was not good. Once again, recovering from having freaking cardiac arrest. Like he still, he was still a guy who was projected top 10 not that long ago. And once he got to the NBA, I mean, also like people were like, oh, like LeBron got him drafted. Like it was a 55th pick. Look at every single 55th pick in history and rank Bronny. He's probably top 5, top 10. Like I was looking, I think like Patty Mills is probably the best 55th pick ever. Like at the end of the day, for a guy who's been a 55th pick, he's already overachieved. That's the crazy part. He's already been better than the expectations for pretty much every 55th pick. I mean, most 55th picks don't even play significant time in the NBA. And Bronny played important minutes in a playoff game. I mean, of course, Rockets bench wasn't good. He outscored the Rockets bench in a playoff game, which is factually correct. I understand he only scored 5 points, but he factually outscored a playoff team's bench in a playoff game. And he's been a solid 3-point shooter. He's had some other things go on. Like, I don't hate Bronny as a basketball player. I think he could be a solid contributor for a few years. Is he going to have a 20-year-long NBA career and be an all-star? Absolutely not. But if he wasn't LeBron's kid, you know what he would have done? He would have played the G League like he did last year. He would have gotten a 2-way like he did. He would have, actually he didn't get a 2-way, but he would have made his way up the ranks and still played. And if anything, his development was probably hindered by being on the Lakers because he didn't get the same amount of burn. But like, this is a fine NBA player. Like, I don't buy that Bronny James only got in because nepotism. Nepotism helped, but he's actually a good player. And with all that being said, this has been the Alexy Knows Ball podcast. It's been a great first show. I am excited to take this on, keep doing it. I don't know how often I'm going to be posting, but turn your notifications on. Follow me at AlexyKnowsBall on all platforms. This is my life. I'm building a basketball brand. I'm building a basketball media brand, and I'm going to be out here doing a whole bunch of stuff. My TikTok, I post like 5 videos a day, plus, highlights of me talking on House of Highlights and Overtime and a bunch of other stuff. You're going to see me on podcasts. You can see me on the Sit Down with Malik Wright. I got a whole bunch of stuff coming at you guys. And yeah, if you know ball, you know me. Peace.